Hello, everyone. We're here for the Inland Wetland Watercourse Commission for agenda for Tuesday, April 22nd. Introduce the commission members to my left. That would be you.
Diana Ross.
Walt Vesputa.
Katie Keeler, the secretary. Scott Allen, and Rick Miagioni. We're going to start off with consideration of April 8th, 2008 minutes. Anybody have any corrections? I didn't see anything since it's only 2 pages. Did you find something, Scott, or no? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. It should be what, March 24th?
You looking at the date?
Look at the,
Well, I think the last meeting was April 8th. It was the meeting before that we missed. Or not missed, but we didn't have.
okay, then that's right. Okay, good.
Well, I mean,
No, we're
that's-
right.
That's what I think it is. Is that correct? We were here 2 weeks ago. We missed the meeting before that. But it wasn't 2 weeks ago. No, because we were talking about the American Legion last
Right.
meeting. So the date is correct, yeah.
On the new business VFW. On the new business VFW,
Right.
is that the same as the American Legion?
Yes.
Okay.
No, well, to us it is. Sorry, gentlemen.
We belong to both.
Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? One. Walter. Routine correspondence. Is this my...
It's your file.
Oh, great. We have stormwater management, one-day workshop, Thursday, June 5th. If anybody's interested, I assume we still have funds in our budget.
We have funds in the budget.
Okay, I'll pass this down. We have a sheet from here for Land Use Academy. Same thing, there's a meeting.
There's 3 dates on that.
Yeah,
You can
Saturday,
attend.
May 17th, Saturday, September 27th, and Saturday, November 15th. Yukon, and Northeast Utility in Berlin. Pass this down. A magazine here from CFL News. What's
Connecticut
this?
Federation of Lakes.
Okay. And this is our standard one that we always get, the habitat. We'll pass this around. And there's also, if anybody was interested out there, all this will be at the Wetland Commission office for anybody to review. Okay. Next, new applications. For receipt, we have 794 Mapledale Road. Everybody receive one? And we'll discuss that at the next meeting. And for discussion, first one on the list is Castleberry Estates. Is anybody here for that?
Here it is, one right there.
That's good.
This one also. For the record, my name is Nick Simonello. I'm with Godfrey Hoffman Associates in North Haven. Here on behalf of Stephen Casella, who's the applicant. The proposal before you tonight is a 5-lot subdivision located on 972 Garden Road. It is currently a 14.9 acre lot, which contains a single-family residence located on the eastern portion of the lot. It has a bituminous driveway which provides access to Garden Road. It's served by a septic system and a private well. There's wetlands throughout the site. Page back here. There's wetlands located throughout the site, predominantly on the eastern portion around the existing dwelling, and again towards the center of the lot. The proposal you okay if I put that down? The proposal is to extend Old Coach Road approximately 860 feet to the east and to split off 4 new lots on this site. Each lot, I've met with both an EC lot, each lot meets the area requirements as well as the minimum square requirements for zoning. Each of the 4 new lots are going to be served by an on-site septic system and a municipal water supply. The western portion of the lot has 2 predominant runoff areas. There's a ridge which runs along this way through Lot 2, and so you have a western runoff area and eastern. The western area is predominantly runoff, and it flows overland onto the adjoining properties. On the eastern portion of the property, you get overland flow as well, but it predominantly runs into this wetland area. Our stormwater conveyance system and stormwater management system consists of several catch basins, each with a 2-foot sump, and they're going to be located all throughout, as strategically located on the Old Coach Road extension. The eastern portion is going to be collected by the catch basins and conveyed towards a 30,000 cubic foot detention basin, which is designed to handle a 100-year storm with a minimum 1-foot freeboard. Western portion will be collected again by catch basins, and it'll be conveyed to 62 linear feet of 4x4 galleries, and that'll be to treat the first 1 inch of runoff, and then the excess will discharge via a level spreader. Now, we did extensive stormwater analysis on this, and you can look through the stormwater management report, but we were sure to make sure that all volumes leaving the 2 areas, as well as the rate of discharge, are similar for pre and post conditions for a 100-year, 24-hour storm. Some of these sediment erosion control features, which we plan on implemented, consist of siltation barriers, which you can see here in red, and those, in a majority of the cases, delineate the limits of disturbance on the lot. So only this white area would be lawn as proposed, and everything else is going to be undisturbed in its natural state, which is wooded. We also have stockpile areas for each lot, as well as a equipment storage area during the construction of the road. We plan on having siltation barriers around each of the catch basins during construction of the road, and we have here a proposed dewatering structure just in case we need that. And that pretty much sums up the plan as I have. If you have any specific questions, I can answer those, or if you'd like me to explain something in a little more detail, I can do that as well.
Lot 1,
Yes.
for the level spreader, is there a house next door to that?
Yeah, there's a house located here, and then one kind of in this area as well.
But the water's gonna be discharged towards that property?
Well, the water is discharging there currently. It's all kind of flowing towards this area. And so, as I mentioned, when we, currently the runoff pattern, the limit of runoff is pretty much kind of runs through here. There's a ridge, and everything is running this way. What we did is, we put a swale here, and we put catch basins here. So now all this area is going to be running towards that detention basin. So really what we've done is we've decreased the area which is running off in that direction, and as a result, the net volume of runoff has decreased because of that. So even though there is a discharge point there, the net effect is a decrease, I think, of about 7,000 cubic feet, which is pretty substantial, of total runoff running off in that area. And the rate of runoff also is very similar. I think actually it's decreased from
Is
what is
there
here.
a natural swale or something right now where that water goes? I mean,
It kind of
once it gets there, where's it go?
goes this way. There is I wouldn't say a natural swale, but there's a rock wall, stone wall that runs along here, and it kind of travels along the back of that and then discharges down the hill. Yeah, we took a lot of care in this. Scott and I poured over this ad nauseum. We originally had a detention basin there, which Scott and I both agreed it's not the right location. So as a result, we tried to push everything towards the eastern portion. And really, we didn't even need these galleries here as far as the volume consideration goes, but that was there to treat the first flush this way. The first 1 inch of rainfall coming off the road was treated before it being discharged.
And it looks like the water, the flow's actually split though, that some go to, what direction is this? Let's see, the northwest, and then some go to the southwest.
That's correct.
But you're gonna take it and all put it to the northwest.
No, that's not correct. It's actually, you still have a substantial runoff. Well, not a substantial, but you have a runoff from this area. The only thing we're discharging here is this section of road. From these catch basins down to the end of road, which is just eyeing it, probably about 150 to 200 feet, is the only thing that's going to be collected and discharged via that level spreader.
What's happening to the runoff that's coming from the top of slope then, on the other side of the road? Is that just going into the ground then, and
I'm sorry, which,
the top of the slope over here?
yes.
Lot 3?
Lot 3, 256? You know, the elevation is about 256 on lot 3?
Okay, on lot 3, 256, right.
Right.
Okay, so we have a swell here, if you can see it. Let me see if it's shown better on another plan. Well, there's a swell here, you can see it on your plan, right next to the road, and that's going to collect all the overland flow, which is normally going in that direction. It's going to collect it, and we have a head wall here, and that head wall is going to connect into these catch basins, and from this catch basin over, everything gets conveyed into this detention basin. So really, we have a prevention of storm. We're trying to prevent stormwater from going in this area. This way we don't wash out the people down here. That's a very critical feature of our design. Just trying to get as much going towards the wetlands as we could.
Is CB2, the one going to the Lot 1 catch basin?
Yes,
Is that a 4-foot sump or just standard 2-foot?
2-foot sump. If the commission wished a 4-foot sump, I mean, that wouldn't be difficult to implement if that was something that they would, if you would like.
What size pipe is it? 12
It's
inch?
15-inch
Okay.
RCP. All pipe is 15-inch RCP.
What's going to happen to the HDPE pipe in the cul-de-sac of Old Coach when that's cul-de-sac is removed?
Let's see, what sheet would that be on? Well, we're gonna recap and relocate those catch basins.
I'm on 3 of 7.
Great, thank you. Okay, so you can see, it's a little cluttered in that area, but the CV, it's to be relocated, and we'll reset the tops and relocate them to align with the new road design. So they will be moving, one of them will stay put, and the other one will be moving approximately 5 or 6 feet to the north.
All right, so you'll have RCP in one side and HDPE out the other?
Well, they both have, let me see what we have here. Right, we were going to replace the 15-inch HDPE connecting the two catch basins, which is about a 20-foot length, with the RCP. And then the other one, we were just going to relay the 15-inch HDPE because it's a pretty long length to the next catch basin, and it'd be pretty extensive work to lay that whole stretch in. And it's there now. It doesn't appear to be any problems, so we figure just let it be instead of opening up the road.
Thank you.
Do we have a soils report? I didn't see one in here.
Let me see. I do have one. I don't believe one was submitted with the application.
That's the wetland soils report?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I might have trouble locating it tonight. Is that something I can submit?
Yeah, that would be fine, because I want to have some time to take a look at it anyway.
Very well.
Where does the catch basin from Old Coach Road, where does that discharge to now, and what's your proposal for that?
There's a detention basin on Willard Road, near the corner of Old Coach and Willard, and we don't propose to change that in any way. But that collects the road runoff from the end of the cul-de-sac and conveys everything to the north. And so we're going to be stopping our runoff at the property line, and it should be an equal amount of runoff entering into that existing detention basin. So there's no need for us to modify that in any way.
Is the detention basin a dry basin or a wet basin?
Our proposed is a dry basin.
Okay, and do the plans show what soils there are there, and have you checked to make sure that it can infiltrate?
Yes, we did extensive soil testing all throughout the area for the septic system, and our infiltration rate was the slowest on the entire site was a 1 in 20. In most areas, we had a 1 in 10. So I'm confident we will have ample infiltration to treat that. And we do have these soils in that area on the septic plan, which I believe is 4 of 7. Yeah, there's a Charlton Chatfield complex in that area. It's a little difficult to read, but that whole central area is that soil classification. It starts here and then continues all throughout the site. And actually, the web soil survey didn't show any different soil classification for the wetland area, which is a little unique, but it is what it is. And so that was the soil classification that came off of the web soil survey.
I've seen those sometimes be quite wrong. Did the soil scientists confirm that in the field?
I can't recall, but I will check for you on that.
Did you see the comments from the sanitarian?
The ones on the application?
Yeah.
I do, but I don't recall.
For lot 1, driveway for lot 1 shall be pitched toward the proposed yard drain.
Yep, yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah, we will be able to do that. That shouldn't be a problem. Currently, it's pitched in the other direction, but we should have no problem cross-pitching that back the other way.
Because he doesn't want the water to go across the leaching system.
Yep.
That's curved, is that what?
It is.
Oh, yeah, I can't read his writing. Or shall be curbed then. So driveway for lot 1 shall be curbed and pitched toward proposed yard drain. Whereabouts is that yard drain?
It's right, it's difficult to see, but
Oh, I see the
it's right
driveway.
at the bottom. You could see,
At the
if you
turnaround?
follow the grade, right, it's right before the hammerhead.
Okay. And where's that going, to the detention basin or
Right.
back, in the back?
To the
Right.
detention basin, then out to the level spreader. So I actually misspoke before. It's that portion of the road and the driveway, which we collect in there.
Did you take a look at moving that basin up a little farther, maybe to the west, so that you could get it away from the wetland a little more? And from in between the two, the little one and the large one?
Well, that's the kind of the most natural area to put it as far as topography goes. This is more of a steep slope as you come. I'm assuming you mean in this direction.
Well,
We toyed with that quite a bit, trying to fit it in just right, and we tried to equally space it between the wetlands and work with the topography as much as possible. We wanted to make it an excavated basin. We didn't want to fill and create a berm, and that area lended itself best to that. If we go in the steep slope area, we're going to have to berm it around this side, and we felt just because there's houses in this proximity, it'd be a lot safer to excavate, and so that area lent itself best to that. I mean, it's not something we could move it, but there are drawbacks from construction, and we would probably end up with a larger impact and disturbed area doing that. This is probably the the way that we could do it with the least amount of disturbance, I would say.
I intend to go out to the site to see it, and, I'll need to see the soils report to see what this little wetland is. Do you know if that's a vernal pool?
We're not sure. We
Okay.
don't believe so. I don't believe it's stated that in the wetland report that it was, or had the potential to be. I think that would involve more investigation, which we actually considered trying to come to the board to maybe enhance a different part of the wetland, to, try and remove that. But the fact that it could have been a vernal pool, we decided to not touch it and just let it be and let it remain there. Because it's strange. It's a tiny little knob, and it's on the side of the hill. And if you walk by it in the field, you wouldn't know that it was wetlands. I was surprised to see it, but nevertheless, it is there, and we tried to respect it and not disturb it.
Anyone else have any concerns or questions or more information that he needs to submit? I would like to see on that catch basin on top, so I think it's CB2. I don't think you'll be able to put a 90 there, but you can put a hood because you got concrete pipe.
Okay. CB2. It's the last one before the,
Just one before it goes into the,
no problem. Yeah, we can definitely implement,
Right.
incorporate that into the design.
I didn't see any deep test hole or perk on anything that I looked at, directly in the area of the detent pond.
We did not, we have some close in this general area, but we didn't do one in that area. The soils throughout the site were very, very consistent throughout the entire site. So based on that, we felt like we could extrapolate a little bit further to get that information without having to do one. We will be performing a deep test in that area before we construct that, just to make sure what we think is out there is actually out there. So that will be, looked at, and probably we should do that sooner than later, just to make sure that our design is correct. But like I said, the soils are extremely consistent throughout the site, and we have soil testing for Lot 4 in a nearby area, so we felt like extrapolating wouldn't be a terrible risk.
Looked like Lot 4, and did you say it's on page 4 is where you're thinking? I think Lot 4 you had refusal at about 64 inches. That's where I'm drawing a little bit of.
Right, for septic refusal.
What is the excavated depth of the pond bottom?
It would be 217, and the area around is about 224, 222, 224. Let's see. 224. So we're going down about 7 feet. Yeah, we had compact till in that area, but it was fairly loose. It wasn't, something we were really scraping at. It wasn't terrible soil, but in the interim, prior to going through with planning and zoning, we will go out there and we'll dig another test hole to verify the soil.
I don't know. I would assume that's it.
On 4.7, you've got TH, like number 15, and then down here DT 15. Are those the same?
I'm sorry.
The letters, looks like test hole, TH, and then down here,
DT.
Yeah, you're
DT.
right.
They're the
Sorry,
same?
I wouldn't. Yeah, they are. The little typo there. But yeah, they are the same.
There's 14 to the center of the pond you're probably talking 160 feet. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, we will. We
You're
will
gonna need a
slow
hole
down.
there.
We'll test that.
I mean, that's not close, especially when it's going down.
Can you test that soon, like before the next meeting, or?
Yeah, I believe we can
Okay.
do that. We could certainly make that happen.
Because it's an 11-foot drop.
Yes.
And if you have refusal at 64, you might be ledge.
Yeah. Well, we didn't really see any ledge on the site. We did see, the compact hill, and, as I mentioned, it was very consistent all throughout. So it's a good idea to test, and we will certainly do that.
Well, you've got that little wetland you said that's on the side of the hill, and normally when you have something like that, you've got some sort of a, layer, a restrictive layer, so I think it would be good to check that.
Absolutely.
Just as an aside, I think our next meeting is May 13th. Excuse me, May 8th? May 8th. So there's an extra week there to
Okay.
get things done.
we will get that done as soon as possible, and certainly before May 8th.
No, it was May 13th. It is May 13th, I'm sorry.
May 13th. Oh, great, even better.
Okay. Well, the only thing I got is going to be a deep test and a perk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Get the reports that Diane asked for.
Yeah.
You gotta show a hood for the basin. Anything else?
Do you want a 4-foot?
Yeah, it's gonna be a
A 4 foot.
4 foot. There.
And also cross pitch and curb driveway for lot 1.
Right.
As per Fred Schumacher's comments.
Right. For the comments that they're not gonna go over the system, and you're gonna have the yard drain there.
Yep.
Right. Is there detail in the yard drain? In there? When you say yard drain, that's picking up the driveway water?
That's correct. It's just it's not a full-scale concrete.
Oh, a small one.
Yeah, it's a 2x2. Usually it's heavy-duty plastic.
Also put a 90 on that,
Okay.
because you're probably using a 4-inch line or 6-inch, right?
I believe for that, what do we have here? Yeah, it's going to be smaller, it's not going to be the 15-inch.
So it won't be a problem just to
Yeah.
install it. Anything else? That's it. Well, I guess we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks. If you could get the reports to us before the meeting so we could look at them.
I'll try and get them in this week
Okay.
for you. So we have ample time. Good night.
Next on the list is 620 Racebrook Road, Whitney Acres, lot number 2.
We do have the applicant here with us, but I want to do a little quick background on this, if I may, for the
Okay.
commission. And I think I'll probably just stand up so everybody else can see it too.
Okay.
When this subdivision was approved back a couple of years, 2.5, 3 years ago, this commission approved the 7 lots with this 4-acre parcel, 4.4-acre parcel of open space. That was part of what the developer gave to the town of Orange. when this subdivision went to zoning, somehow that entire 4.4 acres of open space disappeared. Everything that's crosshatched in red right here that you can barely see, but from this line across here up to here, was given to Lot 3. Never picked up by myself or anybody else until it came time to come back in to take a look at all of the open space here when the town was contemplating trying to get some open space over here. And at that point, this lot was sold. I talked with the property owner. They decided to keep everything that they had, and understandably so. That's just the way it went. However, the developer was kind enough to go back and revisit Lot 2 and try to give back as much of the open space as possible. And that is what you have before you now, colored up pretty well, and we'll show that to you shortly. As a consequence, that small wetland pocket there, which we actually have the reports on from the company that both the town hired and the developer hired, that did the environmental assessments on those, on all the wetlands out there. We do have that for the file with us tonight if anybody wants to review it. And I just wanted to clarify how this came about. So you have a little better understanding of what transpired.
I'm confused. Don't they have to file a subdivision map showing the open space?
It was filed without it because it wasn't accepted at zoning.
It wasn't submitted to, the same thing wasn't submitted to zoning that was submitted to us?
It was. And
Zoning said they didn't want it.
zoning said that they didn't think the town wanted the open space. And it was given to the other lots.
Did they ask the Conservation Commission or anybody? Okay.
Let's just say not to my knowledge.
My name is Peter Olson. I'm the property owner of Lot 2. And like Scott mentioned, I was approached by the town about the mishap, and they wanted to try rectifying it and getting some open space back. And what we did was we tried coming up with a plan to give some space back to the open town, and some of it had to stay a conservation easement in order for the lot to be an approved lot as far as zoning. To do that, the house had to be moved back a little bit, and that's why that little divot of wetlands is now being proposed to be filled in. And like I told the first selectman, I would try working with it, but I wanted to make sure that I could get the lot approved before I was going to give any open space back to them, so that's why I'm back in front of the board.
Do we have what was approved by this commission?
That's what I just...
I mean, the details of this particular site, so we can take a look at it.
Sure.
Is this, the open space you're proposing with,
That's the yellow.
yeah, with Farm River Estates, is that open space also, do you know? Does it butt
I
up?
think they're trying to connect, that's why they approached me, because I guess they were in the, the approval stage of that, and they wanted to connect the two.
And that's the open space
I
part
think their open space,
is there?
Down lower.
Down lower.
Right where you are there.
yeah. This way, they wanted to kind of keep the corridor going all the way from Racebrook Road
They keep on going,
all the way through.
right.
Why do you have to move the house back?
I believe to get all the proper setbacks. That's what I was told.
I'm not seeing how that's changed. You still have the same property boundaries up there, don't you? Or am I not seeing that?
I don't have the other set of plans in front of me.
You've moved it back from Racebrook Road.
Yep.
Why would these new open space locations, which are actually, even this one is just an easement, why does that require you to move the house back?
I am not quite sure. I'll find out from my engineer. He's the one that told me it had to be moved back.
Have you considered asking ZBA for a variance for lot area?
I know that they talked to Bo Clark about everything before they came up with this plan.
Who would the conservation easement be given to?
I believe it's going to the town.
You know, easements are so difficult, especially when they're this close to a house, because you've got the neighbors wanting to dump, leaves in them and that sort of thing. It's much, much better to have it actual property of the town. So that's, especially this one on the side here.
How many feet from the wetlands was that house on Lot 2? Right, on the old plan?
From here to here, what do you think, it's 3 inches? It's probably 240?
This is 1 to
40.
40.
1 to 40.
About 80.
About 80?
Well, on the new plan, the deck is pretty much, corner of the deck is touching the, what numbers? Here, 331?
I believe that the wetlands didn't really have any value to it, right, on both reports? Both the one that the town did and the one that we did?
Most wetlands have some sort of value. It may not seem as much as other ones, and I don't remember this one in particular, but this also brings in more disturbance near this side wetland, and it brings you closer to the back wetland. So there are other things to consider as well. I'm just not seeing why this requires moving it back.
I guess you have to find out why the house has to be put back, because if this was approved this way, I don't see why you have to change it. Because all the same boundaries are here, same driveway. It's a shorter driveway, that one.
Is the building square 160 by 160 or 175 by 175?
I think it's 160. You need 54,000.
This shows a 175 by 175.
I think that's because when this subdivision was approved, that's what remember they changed the zoning, and then they changed it back? I think this was done when that,
Oh, okay.
they changed it, and then this subdivision got approved, and then I believe they changed it back. So when I did this subdivision, I believe it was a 175 square.
Yeah, actually, I believe you went through 3 zone changes from start to finish on the subdivision.
That's when they were going through all the different changes.
So could he reapply for 160 by 160? It's a new application?
I don't think that matters if this plan was approved.
What was it his concern that there was going to be traffic, and they pushed the house further away from the traffic if people were going to be walking on the lot?
I don't recall what the thought process
Just
was. The amount of, I think it was the amount of wetlands. There was more than 10% of wetlands on the site. I'm not sure if that's why it became a conservation easement instead of being deeded over, because it would have made the lot too small. Because of, I think that's what I thought.
You know, I guess from a wetland standpoint, the wetlands are better protected if it's town property versus, you know, somebody's lot. So it's frustrating to me that the lot has to be this big, through no fault of his,
No.
and then the wetlands will suffer from it, and the protection of the wetlands will suffer from it, because we have to have this larger lot size, which, you know, smaller lot size wouldn't make any difference as far as what you could put on it. I don't know, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I believe that is what the net result was here, was that it exceeded the 10% if they deeded all of it to the town.
Are you saying that they couldn't deed all of this to the town as open space because more than 10% of it was wetland and that's not permitted? Would the lot area be large enough if they moved the property lines back to this edge, this side of it where they were? The lot area would be large enough?
I believe if they gave nothing back to the town in the back side of this and left that as being a lot size, there's enough upland back there to compensate. But because the upland is being given away, it skewed the wetland numbers. And I believe that was the reason, if memory serves me.
Because the lot will have more than 10% of wetlands on it?
The lot itself would? The lot area?
The new lot?
The new lot, after I gave
After
the
he gave it
property.
away.
The new, but that's not a lot that he's giving away, it's open space.
But it
But it's not,
reduced the
right.
size of the lot.
So it's the size of the lot that's too small, that's left over from the open space.
Yes. I believe that was the reasoning for it, for that. And that was the only reason they had to remain as conservation easement.
Well, ZBA would have to give a variance to make that open space instead of an easement? You don't know?
I have no idea.
Well, can we verify what, maybe the background on that and how that happened?
I'm pretty sure that
Well, that sounds right.
that was what the reason was, that it wouldn't meet the 10% rule if that conservation easement was given to the town. They tried a couple of iterations here to make this work, and this was as much open space that they could give without reducing the size of the lot. And as you'll notice, that's why there's the conservation easement on the outside of the open space going towards Lot 1. it goes, well, actually, that got,
That belongs to the other,
Yeah.
that belongs to lot one.
I mean, I'm sorry, the drainage easement that it also goes to the state there took away some of the, I looked at the wrong thing. But I'm pretty sure that was what they calculated when they laid this all out. Where's the septic over on the old plan?
It's basically the same place.
Yeah, pretty, yeah, the house would have been right here instead, right there.
This conservation easement on Lot 1, is that also a new conservation easement proposed?
I think so, because I still own that lot.
And that's mostly wetland. How could that change the lot area that much? I mean, does it really, that it has to be a conservation easement and not property?
Yes, because I think that lot's only like 1.5 acres. That was almost like just had the area that I was supposed to have. I think it's 1.5
The
acres.
same thing would happen with this, because this belongs to lot one, so if you gave this property away, he might not make the 10% rule.
But most of it's wetland. Is it that little bit, just that little bit there?
I don't know, I don't know.
I think that lot is like 1.5 acres exactly.
I guess, we approved it with a large amount of open space and open space over the wetlands in order to protect the wetlands. Now, that's what we approved. I think that it would be reasonable to ask for a variance to the lot size to bring it back to what we approved. That's just my opinion.
What's the hardship that they're going to ask for from a zoning standpoint?
I don't know, because that's not up to me. It's just that it's frustrating to me that the wetlands have to suffer. And we did not see this change. We did not have the opportunity to approve the change before they sold the lot, and we should have.
You're absolutely correct. But again, I'm not trying to be anything but devil's advocate here of, I don't want to make us all look foolish either, of saying, what's the hardship? It's a brand-new lot. There's nothing on it.
That's up to ZBA.
If they'll even hear it.
Well, I think that's why they met, before they came up with this plan, I believe they met with Jim and Bo, right? I don't know, I know they met with Jim. And they kind of came up with the best alternative to try to get that space back. I was away when they were doing that, so I don't know exactly what said.
It could have come, this really could have gone in an entirely different way, which it actually started out as being that, where Lot 2 came in, Lot 3 came into this commission for review, and even myself included did not realize that that open space was gone, because it was only the one lot on a single sheet, not compared to the entire subdivision, not dreaming that that open space was gone. Never gave it a thought. So we all let Lot 3 go as a larger lot, even though that's not what we approved when it came back to the commission for its go-around.
Yeah, I don't know how this happens, because, when we're getting one parcel, we don't know. We assume that what we're seeing is what we approved.
Agreed. So then when this one came around, it was like, okay, wait a minute, what happened to the open space? And it was gone. That's where I didn't catch it the first time around. But again, I don't know what they could possibly say is a hardship here. And quite frankly, that small little wetland pocket doesn't necessarily have to be filled. It's just going to get destroyed as part of the construction.
Well, and again, I don't see why the house has to be moved back. It doesn't look like there's any reason for it.
I believe it's the separating distance from the septic system.
But the septic system hasn't moved, has it?
I don't think so.
So, but the house is now moved.
That scale.
They want to go from the pond? No, it's pretty close. No, it's within, it's very close. The only thing that moved was the house. Was
All right, the other thing I noticed is that, look at where the square is. Maybe that's something that could be changed. Look where the house is in relationship to the square on the new plan as opposed to where it was on the old plan. Is the square shown?
There's no square on that. But see, this square could be reduced. This could go to 160 by 160.
Yeah, well, that puts the building outside of the square then.
No, you would have to move the building closer to Racebrook. Like
And the
this,
square could be moved closer to the north.
right. But this is gonna get, there's no way this is gonna make, I mean, you build a house, that's gonna be gone. I mean, you can't have a deck.
You can't even build a foundation.
Right, once you start digging, that's gonna be gone anyways.
But I'm trying to,
Would you think this would be better if this is deeded to the town and make this the easement? Reverse it?
no, because we're still trying to connect the open space to the open space.
Well, this could still stay connected this way, like that. Or if you're concerned about dumping leaves and stuff from property owners.
They're gonna dump it on town property whether,
Yeah.
anyway, I mean,
It
that
doesn't-
one.
I mean, lot
That's not gonna
lot 3 is planted nothing but pine trees. He's trying to let that go back to as much as normal as possible. I don't know if you've been by there, but he's planted like $18,000 worth of pine trees over there.
Is there a lot size on here? Right, the total lot area is 2.9 acres. An acre and a half of it goes to the town. That brings you down to 1.9, and then the rest of it's conservation. That's why, I'm pretty sure that's why it was done that way. It wouldn't have met the
10%.
10%. That's why the conservation easement. So the property owner still retains it in order to meet the lot size. And again, as far as dumping leaves go, I don't think it makes any difference whether it's town owned.
No, the town,
Go look at the end of
it's not gonna matter.
the 2 acres on Pine Tree Drive. Or Manley Heights, or any one of those places. Would you get 70 feet on the old plan from that, for the septic?
3 inches as well. Well, it looks like the house just was shifted in the septic.
That's identical.
The house was just moved. It went to the back of the galleys instead of the front, pretty much.
Doesn't make sense here.
Well, I don't think that the house still could have remained up front. I don't think that matters. But I mean, that's not gonna change anything. the house still could remain according to that plan.
We weren't at the 100-foot upland review area either back when the subdivision was approved. Everything was at 50 feet, so I think what they've done is still kept 100 feet.
Why is open space proposed along the edge right here versus all back here? Was there a reason for that?
I don't know what you're pointing at. Tom.
Just right here. Well, instead of open space here, why wasn't it that way?
Same reason.
Well, there's wetlands here, you could take out the same amount of space up here.
You're not taking it out. though,
Not
with-
taking out, but you know what I'm saying.
With a conservation easement, it's still part
There's-
of the property. It's still owned by the property owner, there's just a conservation easement on it, so it doesn't reduce the lot size.
No, I was just asking, why is it over here versus back here? Just why did they choose to put it on the side? It's not, is it connected to other open space on the side?
Yes.
This.
Well, it's not, it's private property on the other side, but it's
Well, that's a conservation, isn't that
it's also a conservation
Conservation.
easement on Lot 3.
on Lot 3?
That's this.
Lot 3 has a conservation easement over here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, if you look at
That one.
back at this plan, what was, this is now Lot 3 all the way down to here, which was supposed to be open space, is now all conservation easement. So the two of them are connected. So this whole chunk here now is conservation easement.
That conservation easement, this was supposed to be conservation easement to start with?
No, it's supposed to be
it
open
was supposed to be
space.
open space.
But now it's conservation easement because it's on somebody else's property now?
That's the way it was approved down the pike, and that's the way we approved it when it came back in,
Okay.
not realizing that it was supposed to be open space instead of conservation easement.
Okay.
So basically, everything that was supposed to be open space deeded to the town is still in its natural state
That's conservation easement.
as either open space or conservation easement, just not all of it has been fee simple to the town. So the accomplishment as far as protecting the wetlands worked out all right, as far as what the town was supposed to get didn't work out all right, and this is a last-ditch effort to try to make something come back that was lost.
Can we find out why this house has to be moved back?
I think I have a clue now that I look at this, to be honest with you. I think that's a trade-off, plain and simple.
Oh, to get I from Racebrook
Yes,
for the donation or
Yes.
giving of open space?
that's, I can almost begin to see that that's probably what
Well, you
happened.
should-
And he
your
wasn't
lot.
there.
Oh, he wasn't there.
He wasn't there, he was away.
Okay.
I was away. When I came back,
This was-
they said, Scott approached Al
Right.
Shepherd and asked him what happened. He said
Okay.
zoning told us they didn't want it, then Al Shepherd went in and talked to Jim Ziola about it, and when I came back,
That's what you got.
they gave me this plan.
Who is Al Shepherd?
My engineer?
And you own the property?
Yes,
So actually, the decision is yours, where that house goes.
yes.
Okay, so you could, if there's
Well,
no
my
physical
concern-
reason,
My concern, if there's gonna be people walking here, that I wanted to keep the house further back away from the people that were gonna be walking, because they were saying that, they wanted this to be a walking corridor to get to this open
There's
space.
to be a
to
walking
continue.
trail.
nobody's going to be walking through that wetland.
Well, that's their.
That's what they want it for.
But how are they going to walk through the wetland? Most
Well, it's
people
the-
don't like to walk through the wetland.
It's along the river's edge.
Right along,
This wetland up here that goes into the property?
yep, is right along the river.
That's the river. If you look at the, where it reads invert 153.37, just north of the drainage easement to the state, you see in bold letters? Well, that's the Indian River coming underneath Racebrook Road, and you'll see the Indian River comes down, goes through the open space, crosses into the conservation easement on Lot 1, goes west, and then crosses back into Lot 2 and continues west. So you can go all along the river's edge.
Okay, how do you get to the river's edge then? You go into the driveway and walk on that side of the river's edge? Is that how you do it?
No, basically, I believe it would be coming from the other direction, not so much from Racebrook Road direction. I don't anticipate that you're going to find anybody that'd be foolish enough to try to park their car
Well,
on
they do right now.
Racebrook Road.
But it looks
That's-
like if your concern is that people are going to be walking on this side of the easement, then in order to do that, they have to walk into this driveway.
And that's what our concern
Into
is.
their yard and over here, which,
And that's what our concern is. If you're gonna say that there's open space and the people can't walk through the wetlands and they're gonna be walking on the people's yard to get into the walking path, that was my concern, and I think Al Shepard's concern. That's why he wanted to push the house further back for marketing and selling the house. You didn't want people walking right through your front yard.
yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
What?
I-
On Farm River Estates, I think they offered 2 or 3 parking spots. Remember that, across from the road? They'll be walking from that side down and then probably back. That's what-
Right,
They would be parking on the other development.
I don't even think you should make this so that people think they can walk here, because that is a problem. If that's not walkable, then you can move your house up here, and that's not a concern.
I
And
think
maybe
that's
move
what-
other things
I
around.
think that's what the first selectman's whole idea was getting this so they could connect everything together. That's what he,
I don't know, I'm not there, and I can't see it, but it looks to me like in order to get over to this side of the river, you've got to walk down the driveway and across the guy's front yard.
this isn't,
The river's over here. No, there's a wetland ditch there, which is
from the state.
from the state.
Which they are not going to walk through, they're going to go down the driveway and along the wetland ditch in the guy's yard to get to this, if that's how they're going to access here.
And again, I don't believe the intent is, right now, they can park in the driveway access area because there is an opening there. That's the only reason the driveway was located there in the subdivision originally. And there is a spot there where one could pull out and walk into Lot 2, but once there's a house there,
That's where I don't see that that's a problem, and that's why I don't see why the house needs to be moved back, because, I mean, there's ways for this property owner to prevent that.
Is, for them to do a walking path, do they have to come to wetlands first to create one? No?
passive recreation.
Yes, but we can look at it, because we want to see if they're going to have any impact. If they're going to...
We're looking at it right now.
No, I mean a trail, a path, a walking path. If they're going to go in there and use some machinery to...
Oh, no.
If it's just walking, that's another thing. But I'm not seeing how this is a good access
No, because like I
there.
say, maybe they could connect it this way with a little bridge or something to go, from Racebrook to that.
And again, it's, you see where the guardrail is? I think it's shown on the plan there, guide rail. I mean, some kind of fence or barrier there.
Yeah, the X's?
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying, I mean,
It's very close for people to try to park there.
Oh, they park there right now.
I know they do, but once the house is
yeah, once a
built-
house is there,
They do on the one on lot, this one, I planted all grass and they still, because for years and years, they've been parking on the side of the road, there's all grass planted and they still pull up right on top of the grass. On lot
to go
3,
down and fish.
lot 3, there was, for years and years, there was, like, you could pull off the side of the road, and that's why when Scott approached Jim Ratliff about getting the space back, he said people park down here and throw all debris in there already. He didn't want to have more of a reason for people to park down there and throw debris.
Why don't you find out why the house has to be moved so far back, and then see if there's another alternative that will satisfy you that this property owner is protected from people walking across their yard, so this house could be moved forward away from that wetland?
I think the answer's been given.
I'm not satisfied.
Well,
I don't know, and I'm only one person, so, as of right now, I would not approve this, because I don't see why the house has to be moved back.
If this wasn't given as open space, so nobody could go by there, then he won't have a problem bringing the house closer.
what about people that go
That's right.
fishing now? It's the waters of the state.
Unfortunately, once you develop property like this and people start owning it, they lose their right to do that.
Who does?
People, they lose their rights to go onto other people's property, even if they have in the past, and that's just part of what happens when you develop like this.
But they could stand conceivably on that head wall and fish without going onto their property.
Yeah, it's state property.
Right.
Correct.
It's state waters.
Right.
Yeah, they could stand on there, but that has nothing to do with,
But that's
Town.
it's the same, but it's the same piece.
no, it's in the state right away.
So again, even if they owned it and it was deeded outright to, none of it was given to the town at all. None of it had conservation easement on it. People could still stand on that head wall as it comes underneath Racebrook Road on the edge of the pavement and throw a line into that water, and there's not a doggone thing that anybody can do about it.
And that's fine, but they're not walking across this property to get to it. They'd be coming right off the road, right? Is that what you're talking about? They'd just be coming right off the road there.
And I'm thinking that wouldn't change.
I don't see a problem with that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people walking down this guy's driveway across the front yard, which sounds like that's the concern why the house had to be moved back.
Well, that's what's gonna happen if a trail is developed here, because they're not gonna go through this,
Right.
whatever you wanna call it, swale of water.
It's a swale
It-
loaded with invasives.
Right, they're not gonna go through there has to be a plan from this open space to connect to Racebrook. Has to be some kind of bridge, or even from the top of the head wall to there, to keep people off your property. If not, they're gonna walk there. There's no other way to get over there.
And possibly, I still think they'd come in from the other side, so.
Right, you could walk right down.
From this side,
From this side,
yeah.
right down right there.
Then if they can come in from the other side, there's no reason to bring this all the way up to the road, is there?
Well, it's not all the way up to the road.
It's all the way up to the state property.
You mean going this way? Yeah, taking this out, or no?
Why not?
I-
Why not trade it for some of this space back here? It doesn't make sense to me.
I would have to take a look and see how that is. This could be all wet too here, right? This drains this way,
No, it goes the other way.
this way?
Mhm.
Yeah, so it still could be wet.
I don't see the advantage either. If we have a larger open space, sometimes that's more of an advantage, so I don't see the advantage of having this stripped down over the river versus having a larger open space back here that is actually owned.
But you can't connect Racebrook to the other road. That's the problem if you take this out.
But are people going to be accessing through that?
Yeah, they will be.
And that's the intent then?
People could be parking up at the Farm River, taking a walk down to here, and go back. Or, for some reason, somebody gets dropped off, and they're gonna go this way, or maybe they have plans in the future to do 2 parking spots here somehow. I don't know. We don't have the actual plan of what they're doing here. But I know the reason is,
To get to the open space on Ewing's piece.
right, that's why Farm River, they asked for those parking spots up on top.
So they have access from the other side?
From the other side. But that, you can't stop people from this side to go through. Anyone else have any other concerns about the house? I mean, that was all. So you would like to see more information first, or?
I think you should find out from everybody else. I don't, I would like to know why the house has moved back, but,
Okay.
maybe everybody else is ready to vote on it.
If you're so sure that we should do something with the house, why don't we wait until the next meeting, have him come back, see if he can move the house?
There you go.
Agree to that, Pete?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Come back to the next meeting and tell us why, if the house can be moved? Feasible for you?
Yeah,
Talking with Jim?
yeah, we'll talk.
All right, then let me get it clear in my mind, is the filling of the wetland pocket an issue?
I don't think it's an issue, because even the other plan, I think it was gonna be going anyways.
It was gonna be right in the backyard, it was 50,
Yeah, I know, but,
it was 50 feet away.
right, but I don't think it was gonna last. Does anybody have any?
I think it was 80 feet, wasn't it?
80?
Yeah.
But if this wetland pocket, do we want it to remain?
That's what I'm asking.
Right, it's on, so
I
at
mean,
least,
is that the crux here, or is that the crux of the situation, or is there an underlying other issue that I'm just trying to get a handle on, that's all? The simpler way to say this, quite frankly, is for the developer to say, listen, I'll take back my open space, I'll put the house back the way it was, and
it's done.
it's done. And we end up with virtually nothing. And that's the long and short of it. Again, through no fault of his own.
Well, I'd be opposed to that. I think what Walt's recommended is that, Diane, we're talking about 2 weeks, have Billikowski and Bimichow give us an explanation on the house. That may satisfy it. I think also that it could be, an access point could be made from the state property into that, so that the least past the resistance for people who wanted to walk that area. Parking, that's a whole different story, but, so I mean, something like that could be worked out. And I think the open space thing is too new and up in the air for anybody to have any plans on how they're gonna deal with it, but that would be my read on it.
Well, maybe his engineer could draw something from there to Racebrook that is feasible.
I mean,
This way, when the time comes that they do, at least it's on the plan how they're gonna get into this side versus parking next to your driveway and walking on your lawn. I mean, even though your house is set back there, you still don't want people going through your lawn.
right, and but as far as marketability and trying to sell the house, I don't want to put up a house and then people are going to be walking in the front yard.
Right.
How do you,
But maybe he could draw something right here in
Yeah.
yellow or whatever color, say, future path or whatever, bridge, crosswalk, somehow to get in this way.
Right at the head wall.
Right, you could, on top of the head wall to there. I mean, I just don't know how the yellow, what's there,
I'm still confused, because that's how we approved it the first time,
which,
just as it's shown. Right here. I mean, this is the plan that was approved.
yeah, but before, there was no connection to these lots for a path to Farm River Estates. There was no parking up on top, right? Just because you had this section of open space doesn't, people weren't gonna go in there. Now you could go from this road to St. John's, or whatever roads.
No, it was, at that time, it wasn't even Farm River Estates.
Right, we just, Brian know that. There was no connection.
Okay. Yep.
That's the way I look at it, because if this was just given to open space, this would still belong to somebody. You couldn't go,
Right, and
Cross over.
actually it does, I believe.
now you could.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
We have it right there.
Have it right here.
Yeah.
It's that little tiny sliver in the corner that we're
Right,
talking
here.
about.
that was it.
That's it.
Yeah, but before that, they couldn't go through. Everybody has one. That was to get into here.
If you take a look at your 8.5 by 11 there of Farm River, that
Right.
is the piece in question that we're all jumping up and down about.
Right. Goes like this. That's it. This is Farm River.
Well, I think things change once you put a house there, and you really don't want people walking through your yard. And I think what can happen is when you move the house back, it kind of seems a little more open to the public, and they're not as close to a house, you know. They feel like maybe it's okay to walk through the front yard. You know, whereas if they're right, you know, there's a certain distance where you get to a house, and then you know you're in their front yard. You know, and you don't go there. Whereas here, the house is so far back, it kind of looks like it's, you know, it's okay to walk through there, so, I don't know.
What are the grades over there?
Around here.
It's about 9 feet, 10 feet.
So you would have to climb up a fairly steep grade to get up into that person's front yard, or you'd have to fall off of their front yard, so, I mean, again, I don't think going through the front yard is the easiest access way either, regardless of where the house is.
From the driveway going towards the walking path is 162 to 158. It's not, it's a gradual. Well, come back in 2 weeks,
3 weeks.
3 weeks, see if you could throw a little something to connect that. Maybe you could pull the house a little bit closer. If he pulls the house a little bit closer, is there any concerns about this wetland area?
Well, I think there's a chance of at least preserving it without grading if the house is pulled back to where it originally was, which was about 80 feet away. This way, there's no chance.
Right.
That's,
Anything else? I think that's it for now. Okay, new business. Anyone have new business? Old business, American Legion Hall, Grassy Hill Road.
Okay, we have, did anybody get out there?
I did.
Not out there?
Yeah.
I find myself in a conundrum because we were asked to have them submit an application for a site plan. I think that was the charge. And when we put this all on the agenda, Rick had, when, at our last meeting, Rick had asked that it get flagged out there so we all could go see where it was. So if
Right.
we took an application in right now, it would only be for receipt, not for discussion. So I wasn't sure how to
Well,
handle this at
I
this moment.
I thought after I asked to be flagged, we were gonna look at it first. The application was gone, that's what I thought.
Well, that's what I kind of thought, but I wasn't sure based on the minutes, so,
Yeah, I saw the minutes, I didn't think, I don't know if that was right.
but it was
We
what was
did ask
asked
for-
for,
yeah,
but
we-
in the end, I think it sort of kind of went by the wayside. So the bottom line here is that we have a small site plan, and I believe you walked it, did you walk it, Jay? You get
No,
it?
but I know the area.
You know the area, all right, I'm pretty sure, but pass those down, someone down to,
Need one?
get that to Jay Wall. So it's, at this moment, there's not an application in
I
the
didn't-
chute.
I didn't think you needed an application. I mean, you could tell it used to be lawn. I saw the fire pit there. The existing trees near the fence, it looks like they're all gonna remain, because that's where I saw the flags. I mean, it was pretty much just that.
That site is covered with garlic mustard, just covered, which needs to be gotten rid of.
You didn't like that pretty green?
It's beautiful.
It's a little invasive.
Yeah, that's what I thought too was it's pretty clear where the lawn area would be and where the treed area would be.
Right, you could tell it was a lawn.
Yeah.
I mean, you still could drive in there with the car. I could see the path.
I thought what should be done is they should preserve the trees on either side and the end, even on the lake side, also the small trees right along the edge, because they serve as a secondary canopy, a lower canopy, helps shade that area, to try to keep some of the multiflora rows and things from overtaking any more than they already are. A lot of vines that need to be removed because they're killing the trees. And, you know, if they can get rid of that garlic mustard and the multiflora rows, and, you know, I think it's fine.
All right, and it's roughly like 25 or 30 feet from the water's edge up the grade to the outside of the tree canopy that's there. Is that acceptable?
Well, the tree canopy's gonna remain. I
Well,
mean, the large trees here. Because in the beginning, he was talking about removing.
Right, I think the trees
Should
have
remain.
to, the trees have to remain. I think that you could do it as I would think an administrative approval, just so we have an actual approval.
Okay.
But then they wouldn't have, that's my feeling. And I would like to see where, you know, where the trees are, and then there's a smaller saplings and small trees right along the edge of it, you know, not out into the lawn area. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Those should remain right along the edge, but then out into the property, then they could, you know, probably do what they want to do. But I think as part of any approval, they should be required to remove any garlic mustard that's left, and at least the multiflora, and at least,
Asphalt back here. I assume this is it right here. You see the water all runs this way?
keep those, especially the bittersweet vines, off those trees.
Also, the corner of the
It's the lake.
right, if they could put some stone there, because you see it's eroding a little.
Eroding, right.
I mean, that's not a big deal, just,
Permanent erosion control,
Right.
as opposed to temporary erosion
Right.
control in the area that's going to.
no, because I can see it's all going towards the lake, that way, right there.
And they should try to do this as soon as possible before that garlic mustard flowers and goes to seed.
I believe that,
I think he was ready to go.
I think he is ready to go. Okay, so, let me get this right. Garlic mustard gone, multiflora rose gone, get rid of the vines on all the trees, both the poison ivy and the bittersweet. Keep the saplings that are kind of right at the larger canopy edge. Permanent erosion control in the corner of the parking lot where it discharges towards the lake. And that's what I have for notes, and then do this on an administrative application.
Right. There is one dead tree over here. I think it's hanging over this way a little bit. I don't know if you saw that.
There's a number of tree branches
It's one or the other. There you go.
that are hanging over that should be trimmed.
Yeah.
I think George wanted to do that, really.
Well, there's
There's a
one,
couple of trees that are like this.
Right.
that need to be done.
I think those hanging completely over should be trimmed, because, yeah,
Taken down.
because you'll, if anything, if there is a picnic table there, you don't want that thing over your head.
Yeah, if they can be pruned and they're still safe, they should remain. If they are dangerous, they could be removed.
I think there is one or two dead trees near this fence, pretty big. Looks like they snapped in half.
removed it. Of course, we like the snags, though. If there's some that look like they'll be okay, I'd like to see those, because that's good for wildlife.
Right, as long as they're not dangerous, that would be the
Right.
thing, that they're not gonna fall into
Right.
anything. And maybe you should have them have some sort of a long-term maintenance plan identifying what they need to control the invasive, so they're aware of it, that they can keep
First of all,
those.
to show them what the invasives are.
Right, yeah, some education there.
Standing dead.
Anything else? Yes, anyone like to entertain a motion?
For administrative approval.
Right.
I also would like, included in that motion, to waive the fee.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for administrative approval and to waive the application fee.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Well, a little bit more discussion that just
Okay.
popped in my mind. There is, by statute, I don't know how to get around this one, or even if we can, the applicant is required to put the legal notice in the newspaper that they were granted administrative approval. Typically, those ads for a legal notice run about $80.
Well, I would assume the applicant should pick up the fee.
That's something that we can't, to the best of my knowledge,
Does the applicant put that in?
the applicant is required to put that in.
I don't know what paper that's being put in, but is there a cheaper paper that it can be
well,
put into?
Gotta be the New Haven,
It doesn't have to
Doesn't
be,
have to
no.
Florida Times.
Well, it's
One of the local papers.
statute says it is general circulation within the community. So if you want to consider the weeklies or the bi-monthly general circulation, I certainly think that is considered a general newspaper of the community.
Well, I think people read those more, not everybody reads the larger papers and the notices and everything. I think that's fine. And usually sometimes that's under $20, I think, for those.
All right, just so there will be, we can't do,
So the applicant will be required to put the legal notice as required.
yes.
That the applicant was waived, that the applicant fee was waived.
The applicant fee is waived,
The
right?
application fee, we certainly owe that to them to waive that, but
But that's what he's
statutorily,
going to put in the paper.
the piece that needs to go in the
Yeah.
paper, wherever they can find somebody that can do it on a very inexpensive
Well, they might
way,
even,
or
They could-
possibly appeal to the editor of the newspaper.
right, they more than welcome to call the paper, they might even donate it for them also.
And there are 3 weeklies, or 2 weeklies and 1 bi-monthly.
Anything else? I assume that's agreed with you guys?
That sounds very good to me.
Okay,
My name is Don Jewell, I'm the commander of the post, and George couldn't make it tonight because he had to be called away, but I think he'd be very happy with the results that we received here. Concerning the fee in the newspaper, I've got that all in my mind where it's going to be.
okay. Well, so, well,
Are you, pardon me?
well, I think we could finish the motion, no? Just to make sure? Or you want to see? Okay,
You want to not have discussion in the middle of the motion,
Okay.
right?
yeah.
Am I interrupting what I shouldn't be?
Well, I was going to say, let's finish our motion first to see if it gets approved.
I thought you were taking care of that. Well, I take my thanks back.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now you can say thanks.
Oh, thanks a lot, folks. But are you going to give me a copy of what your requirements are?
Absolutely, and
Yes.
I'd also probably take an opportunity to meet you out on the site along with Mr. Klaskowitz and give you some detailed
Okay. Very good.
ideas of what need to be done.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right. Okay. Approval to change the verbiage on the wetland permit. I saw that somewhere here. What?
We got through that last meeting of changing it, and we talked about not having to go to
The 3 years?
the 3 years and all that, but I mean, as far as not having to go to a public hearing to modify our regs because it's not anything in our regs, et cetera, but it seemed to me like a motion was in order, and I
So-
totally blew that.
Right.
I forgot to ask for a motion.
So we just need a motion. We're
To
gonna,
formally adopt the change.
right, where it's gonna read, this permit is valid for 5 years from date of issuance. If you recall, it was, I think, 3 years to start the activity, and we had issues about activity, which it could extend it to 5 years anyways. So we're just gonna remove the first portion of that. Can we have a motion on that?
Motion to approve the change.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Pass unanimously. Okay. Farm River Estates. Way in the back.
Okay, good evening. My name is Robert Weway, principal at the firm of Codispodian and Associates, and here tonight on behalf of the owner and applicant of the Farm River Estates subdivision, Farm River Estates LLC. Pursuant to the previous approval by this commission, we're just basically resubmitting back to you guys some lot line changes that have been filed with the Planning and Zoning Commission, and we're currently on their agenda for, I believe, a May 6th public hearing date. I believe that we submitted an 11 by 17 drawing, which it looks like the commission has, and that drawing basically depicts the changes in the lot lines from what this commission had previously approved. The lines that are highlighted in red is basically what was approved by this commission in the past. The darker lines would be what's presently being proposed in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I think I do have a larger scale of that, just for the commission to reference back to. So I think in a nutshell, we're still talking about the same number of lots with respect to the subdivision. The lot lines have changed de minimis in nature, so to speak, and for the most part, the houses and septic systems are staying in the same location with the exception of Lot 6. This house is basically slid in a clockwise direction closer to Lot 5, and that's due in part because of the reconfiguration of the lot lines in order to get that to comply with the planning and zoning bulk zoning standards.
So the only thing you did was just change the lot lines and took out the jogs?
Yeah, the lot lines were basically straightened up a little bit from the previous application with the Planning and Zoning Commission. We had some tails. There were a couple of weird shapes up and through here, and part of the concern was with those tail extensions and the irregularities in the lot lines. So what we did, we went back and we took a look at basically reconfiguring this area. We also shortened the roadway up an additional 10 to 15 feet from the previous application too, to try to pick up a little bit more area up in that corner of the property.
I'm a little bit confused, Bob. Didn't you bring I believe the term you used, handlebars, didn't you bring the handlebars to this commission to look at also?
Yes, we brought every change to the plan as required by your
So this is
approval.
not the previous wetlands approval, then the handlebars would have been...
No, this is the original wetlands approval. What's shown on here is, and probably on the 11 by 17s, it's a misnomer. It should read original wetlands approval. instead of a
That, there
previous.
we go, right? You've got it up,
Right, correct, yeah.
Okay, I
this-
kept trying to read
This
that, I
one's
couldn't see
labeled
that.
correctly, it's, that's based on the original approval.
Just clarification.
The red is the original?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Does anybody have any concerns? I mean, everything still remains in, as we decided from the original plan.
Right.
That doesn't change. The only thing changed is the movement of some lines. And that was pretty much for zoning, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
If no one has any concerns, somebody make a motion for the new lot lines? Yeah. And, you will get the final set to Scott.
Once it gets
Or-
approved,
once
yes,
it
we
gets
will.
approved. And throw all the other ones away.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
It's revised to 41508.
41508?
I second it.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Okay,
Good
thank
luck
you.
with your plans.
Yeah, I'll leave this one for you, Scott, if you want the large size one. Just for your file.
Well, it's, no, when you get done with.
Okay.
Or just get the, once it's finally approved. Yeah. And now we're down to our favorite part of the night, enforcement officer report.
I believe I have one item on there, and it's a follow-up, only that I was back out to Mount St. Peter's Cemetery on the Derby Orange line, and nothing has been done as far as the existing conditions with an open aqueduct
And
and
it's still open.
still open, still trying to figure out what they're going to do.
Okay.
That's all I have, and interestingly enough, when that went on my agenda, and I understand you asked about it at zoning.
Yeah, I didn't know, I don't know how that came up over there. I forgot. I did
Yeah,
ask.
but it
And
kind
then
of
they-
blew my mind.
Yeah, then they told me you were going there. I always meant to go down there, but,
It's status quo. I mean, they are still going forward with the project itself. They're
Right.
still accessing it on the part of the aqueduct that's still good.
Right.
The original roadway, but everything else is just status quo.
okay.
That's it for me.
That's it. Our next meeting's gonna be scheduled for May 13th. Do we have a motion
Is this, do we have a new application?
for,
Robert Ziegler, Maple Leo Road?
that's for receipt.
Okay.
That's for our next meeting. Walter,
No further business, I move we adjourn.
we have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? I hope everybody